Sometimes, reality surpasses fiction. Some film shoots were more extreme and more savage than the movie itself. From a punch that sent Sylvester Stallone straight to the ICU, to a fall that left Jackie Chan in a coma. Today, you'll see real accidents that nearly killed the actors. Miracles that were recorded in the history of cinema. In Back to the Future, there's a scene where Buford Mad Dog Tannen hangs Marty McFly with a rope in the middle of the street. The moment lasts seconds on screen, but what happened behind was a real nightmare. To shoot it, Michael J. Fox had to pretend to be hanged, supported by a hidden platform under his clothes. They rehearsed it successfully several times, but in one take, the platform didn't activate in time. Michael was literally hanging by the neck. No air, unable to speak. The crew thought he was acting with brutal realism, but no, he was actually suffocating. For 30 seconds, he hung between life and death while the cameras kept rolling. When they realized, they rushed to get him down. Fox lost consciousness for a few seconds. Fortunately, he recovered. But it was a brutal scare. The most disturbing part, that take where he nearly died, was the one used in the final cut. The one we all saw in theaters. A scene that could have ended in tragedy, and that remained forever in the history of cinema.
She's serious, she can't get up!
Isla Fisher played an escape artist in the famous water tank scene. The trick was to free herself from chains before running out of air. Everything seemed under control. There was an alarm so she could call for help in case of emergency. But no one expected her chain to get truly stuck. Fisher began banging against the glass while the crew thought she was acting. She was underwater for over 2 minutes. No one did anything. Until her face started to change. That's when the team realized something was really wrong. They rushed in to pull her out, and she made it out just barely. According to the actress, she was so close to death that she had goodbye thoughts. Later, she joked that, at least the scene looked very realistic. The audience applauded her without knowing that what they had just seen was a real escape from death. A scene that could have cost her life during the production of a Hollywood blockbuster. During the filming of Castaway, Tom Hanks fully committed to the role of Chuck Noland, a man stranded on a desert island. He lost weight, grew his hair, and lived like a real castaway. But the most dangerous thing wasn't what was seen on screen. It was what happened when the cameras stopped rolling. Hanks got a small cut on his leg during filming. Nothing serious at first, but days went by and the wound worsened. It got swollen, oozed pus. It hurt. And one day, the pain was so intense he had to go to the hospital. There, they discovered he had a severe infection that had reached his bloodstream, sepsis. If he had waited a couple more days, he could have died. The shoot stopped for several weeks while he recovered. Though he never dramatized it, Hanks confessed it was one of the most serious situations he experienced in his career. A minor injury that, in silence, nearly killed him. The castaway almost didn't return at all, and the most ironic part is that the greatest danger didn't come from the sea, or the island, or the filming, but from a simple infected wound. In The Mummy, Brendan Fraser stars in one of the most intense scenes when his character is hanged by the neck as punishment. Although the scene was supposed to be safe and controlled, something went terribly wrong. During rehearsal, the knot that was supposed to support him harmlessly tightened too much. The actor actually began to suffocate. His feet weren't touching the ground, and his face started turning purple. No one on set realized he wasn't acting until he lost consciousness. He had passed out while hanging. When they took him down, his pulse was weak. For a few seconds, the entire crew thought they had lost him. Fraser himself said he saw everything go black. It was one of the closest near-death experiences he's had, and it left him deeply affected. The most shocking part is that, just like in Back to the Future Part 3, that take ended up in the movie. What you see on screen is real. Fraser unconscious from asphyxiation. All because of a rope, bad tension, and a crew that reacted 1 second too late. If they had delayed just a few more seconds, they would have lost him. In The Wizard of Oz, Margaret Hamilton brought to life one of the most unforgettable villains in film, the feared Wicked Witch of the West. But what not everyone knows is that the scene where the witch disappears in a cloud of smoke wasn't just dangerous, it was nearly fatal. The special effect involved a trapdoor that was supposed to open under her feet just as the fire and smoke exploded. but the mechanism failed. The fire went off before Margaret could get down, and she was engulfed in flames in front of the entire film crew. In the first take, the one we see in the movie, everything went well, but they wanted to shoot another one for safety. It was in that second take that the trapdoor didn't open in time. She suffered second and third degree burns on her face and hands, with scars that remained for life. She was hospitalized for weeks, and even while still recovering, the studio tried to convince her to repeat the scene. Margaret refused, and from that day on, she never worked with fire or dangerous effects again. Her dedication was absolute, but the price was extremely high. Despite the accident, her performance transcended generations. It's ironic and tragic that her role as an evil witch was the most remembered, when the real horror was what she experienced off-camera. Jason Statham is known for doing his own stunts, but what happened during the filming of The Expendables 3 went beyond professionalism. It was a near-death experience. During a high-risk sequence, he had to drive a military truck along a dock. The shot seemed simple, but the brakes failed. The truck plunged directly into the sea with Jason inside. The vehicle, weighing several tons, sank like a stone. No stunt double. No safety harness. Jason Statham had to improvise underwater, fight the panic, and swim his way out on his own. Witnesses thought he wouldn't make it out alive. Luckily, his background as a professional diver saved his life. What could have been a tragic headline ended up being an impressive feat. Behind the scenes, everyone was in shock. There were no cuts or special effects. Jason literally sank with the truck. There were no injuries, but the scare froze the entire set. That scene was never included in the final cut, but it remained in everyone's memory as the day Jason Statham proved he doesn't need to be a fictional hero, because he already is one in real life. Apocalypse Now is one of the most chaotic and extreme films in cinema history, and the actor who suffered the most was Martin Sheen. During filming, he had a real heart attack. Not a scare, not a faint. A heart attack at 36 years old, in the middle of the Philippine jungle, during a shoot that had already gone off the rails. The production had become a nightmare. Wild weather, endless days, alcohol, drugs, mosquitoes, a script that changed daily. Martin Sheen was physically and emotionally exhausted. And then, his body gave out. He collapsed in his hut, miles from any hospital. They had to carry him through muddy roads to a highway, and from there by helicopter. He was on the brink of death. Francis Ford Coppola tried to hide it from the press, fearing they would cancel the movie. But the damage was done. Sheen's health was marked forever. And the most shocking part is that the most famous scene in the film, where the character breaks down in front of the mirror, wasn't acting. Martin Sheen was truly drunk, truly depressed, truly at the edge. Apocalypse Now almost destroyed him. But at the same time, that destruction was what gave birth to one of the most real and intense performances ever seen. In Rocky IV, Stallone wanted realism. He wanted the film to be a war between two titans. So during rehearsals, he directly asked Dolph Lundgren, the actor who played Ivan Drago, to hit him for real. And Lundgren, who was a martial arts champion and nearly 2 meters tall, didn't hold back. He punched him so hard in the chest that Stallone's heart literally bounced against his sternum. Stallone began having trouble breathing. His blood pressure skyrocketed. They rushed him to the hospital, and that's when the diagnosis came. His heart was dangerously inflamed. He had to be admitted to intensive care for 8 days. He was on the verge of cardiac arrest. The scene that almost killed him is in the movie. When you watch that fight, you're not seeing choreography. You're seeing real violence. People literally risking their lives for a perfect shot. And all this happened because Stallone didn't want to fake it. He wanted Rocky's pain to be real, and it was. The price of authenticity was almost his life. Dylan O'Brien didn't almost die on screen. He almost died for real. During the filming of an action scene for Maze Runner: The Death Cure, he was supposed to jump onto a moving vehicle. But something went wrong. The harness came loose. He fell headfirst, was hit, dragged, and finally run over by another speeding vehicle. What followed was pure chaos. Facial fractures, broken ribs, a severe concussion. He was bleeding internally. He underwent emergency surgery. His life was hanging by a thread. No one could guarantee he would walk normally again, let alone act. The production was halted for an entire year. But the real hell began in silence, far from the cameras, months bedridden, constant pain, anxiety, therapy. A deep depression brought him to the edge. Dylan no longer wanted to return to the set. He couldn't bear the idea. And yet, he came back. He came back still afraid, still with scars, visible and invisible. He returned not as the same person, but as someone who had crossed the threshold of fear and chose to face it. Jackie Chan has done hundreds of action scenes without stunt doubles. He has jumped from buildings, fought on moving cars, and taken real hits in almost every one of his movies. But once, he almost didn't make it. During the filming of Armour of God, he was supposed to jump from a wall to the branch of a tree. The branch already looked unstable, but Jackie insisted on doing it anyway. And it broke. Jackie fell headfirst from over 5 meters. The impact was sharp, brutal. His skull fractured when he hit a rock. He lost consciousness. They took him to the hospital, and he had to undergo emergency surgery to stop a brain hemorrhage. The injury was so severe, they had to drill into his skull to relieve the pressure. Since then, Jackie Chan has had a plate in his head and a visible hole that he has shown in interviews. He was on the edge of death, literally. And the most shocking thing, when he woke up, he asked to see the take to know if the scene had turned out well. Few actors have risked so much for a movie, and no one like him has redefined what it means to give yourself fully to action cinema. Jackie Chan not only survived, he returned to the set, finished the scene, and turned that accident into a legend of cinema. The accident scene was not erased. In the credits, you can see Jackie fall, the abrupt cut, and then the reality, his transfer to the hospital. If this video left you in shock, hit the bell, because the next one goes even further. 10 actors who died during filming.